Now I'm going to the upstairs of the sewer house. Yes.
Welcome. I can show you the digital signatures.
Right.
This is likely the room. This is my sister's bedroom growing up. It was the servants' quarters. So we figured that that's probably the likely place where he would have been nursed back to health.
Right.
Now what is this again? This is the
servants' quarters.
Servants'
and
quarters.
Probably the area where John Ridge was nursed back to health by Sarah Northrop.
In 20?
Yeah, 20 or 21, some of these. Yeah, 21, 22. I mean, Sarah would have been 16 years old, and John would have been a couple of years older. And obviously, fell in love. It must have been really a special interaction, her bringing him his meals and.
Right. She was how old?
I think 16 at
16.
the time. Yeah. And now John's third great granddaughter is sleeping here, which is a really nice continuity.
Yes. Huh. Amazing.
And then the main part of the master. The rooms are this way, so Mr. and Mrs. Northrop would have been in one of these rooms, likely.
Rare, because I'm usually the one
These were original floorboards, absolutely. And if you look at the floor, exactly. When you look at the floorboards in that room, they're extremely tight-grained. It's
In their pond.
pine, yes. And I would guess it probably would have been local, right from the valley or something. And I know that they had to gather tons of firewood from Coltsfoot as part of the students' responsibilities.
So there was no indoor plumbing.
No, there would have been no.
So this was a closet or something.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
And have you restored it to try to make it look like the period?
No, this is all the way it would have been. I mean, so the walls are painted.
Pictures? There's no pictures on the walls. Is that just?
Good question. If that would have, I would have imagined it would have been plain, simply because of the expense of buying artwork. This would have been a farmhouse. They wouldn't have been particularly wealthy.
Right.
A number of years ago, Dad took off the wallpaper that was downstairs, and I would have guessed it would have been wallpaper from like the mid-1800s. It was this like terrible colored yellow floral, but very interesting. So that has been changed. So maybe there would have been an interesting wallpaper. I'm not sure. But other than that, really, this bathroom I think is 1950s. I think a lot of the renovations anything that was done then in the 50s. But all the floorboards, as you can see, it's all sloping and slanting, and this side of the house still has no insulation. During the wintertime, nobody lives here in the wintertime because it has zero insulation. I think it was corn husk insulation back in 1814, so you can imagine it's powder at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are any of the
This,
original?
I don't think this is original, but this is probably a contemporary time period. It would have been early 1800s.
And these are probably original hinges.
You're right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most of the hardware and all the glass pane, all these old panes are so original.
Yeah, you can see bubbles here.
Yeah, the
That's a check.
imperfections.
Right.
Usually they have bubbles.
Take a look at this one. Those two.
Yeah, that's what.
I can see here.
And they think the bubbles is just from gravity. They're very old that gravity pulls it down. I don't know. But and how many been replaced?
Yeah, that's a good
But
question.
that's wavy too.
Right.
See a lot of wavy ones.
And I can only imagine having to be a student and all the firewood coming from Coltsfoot, trying to cross the stream in the valley, load by load of firewood to bring it back to the school in town.
Oh God, yeah. Well, didn't they have horses and carriage?
Sure, they must have, but even, just to bring it down, the slopes must have been by hand until you could get to the bottom for the wagon. Yeah, I would have guessed this would have been the master room and this wall maybe didn't exist, or maybe this would have existed and This was a
That's
second
great.
room.
That's so funny.
Yeah, how tilted that is.
Yeah. And I guess all the bathrooms had to be raised up so you could get piping.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I have never thought about that. That's exactly
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, probably so.
I had a loft in New York, in our bathroom we had to raise it up because it was just, we had to lay all the pipes right on the floor.
Oh my god.
You couldn't, they were like
Must have been
cement.
an old apartment.
It was a loft building,
old loft
and it was an old saddlery,
Sure.
down in Lower Manhattan.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, take a look at how narrow the grooves or the grain is on these boards. You know, the tightness of the rings.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really get pine like that nowadays when you're buying pine.
No.
So those were
Wow.
old boards.
Yes.
It milled in the stream,
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
the wheel.
Yeah, I wonder if it was right here on Birdseye Brook where it was milled, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there, that big
Yeah.
dam up there.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
in a series of.
Yeah.
You know, I walked there and they had the wagon up to James Woodruff's house. And that house is, I had just learned that house is 1750.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's the third oldest house in Cornwall. But the wagon road up there, it's embedded about that much from horse-drawn carriage.
Years of use.
And that was the end.
Oh, really?
Where's the road?
It's as you go up, it's over the brook,
On the other side?
other side.
Oh,
And you walk it, it's obviously a trail, it's not water roaded.
yeah.
It's and
So is this house that you're referring to, 17, is that the one that's right at like the top of the brook before you get to?
the bridge, it's,
Uh-huh.
if you go look at the bridge, that house, it's about,
It's to the right of Waterston's house.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The one
Okay,
that's
right down in the little dip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's back.
Wow, I would never guess that.
1850.
Yeah.
1850.
yeah.
Cool.
Huh. Wow. But this house is older, right?
Or you said 1750 initially.
17.
Oh,
1750. Yeah,
excuse
yeah,
me,
yeah.
1750.
1750,
Yeah. This is 1814.
1814.
Yeah.
And when was the newer part put on?
That's a good question. I think like the hallway out that way. I think that's like mid 1800s, and then a lot of the garages that you see are more this century, 40s or something. I think the people that my dad bought this house from, they were really, really wealthy, and they had like a Rolls Royce, and so they built a heated garage with like hot running water and stuff, so they could wash the Rolls Royce. And
Right.
yeah, so I think any additions were really done in the 1950s.
Right, right. Had it been sold many times before the people that did
I
that?
can't remember. I did read it. I want to say it was like three times. So it wasn't a huge number of
Yeah.
times. I don't know if you remember Ed Whitcomb. He lived in town. He passed away in the mid '90s, but he used to be the caretaker of this place, and he grew up in
Amy,
Cornwall.
I remember Amy
Exactly.
over in the
Cornwall Bridge, yeah. Or dark.
No, they lived
The
in
little house.
the house where what's her name lives now, Oliver Lee's.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and that was half the size.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He was the caretaker here. He went to school and did in town at the little school, and he had a similar experience in terms of at the little school right by Rumsey Circle. They had to go get the firewood up on Coltsfoot as well and bring it to school. So there's this continuity of.
Wow.
Things didn't really change.
Yeah.
The expectations for young people having to work hard to.
Right, right.
It was their responsibility to help keep the school running.
Well, thanks
You're
for
very
the tour.
welcome. And you're Richard, right?
Richard, yeah.
Ben Gray, nice to meet you.
Hi. Nice meeting you. Yeah.
Are you
Hi.
going to be filming the Lucianne Lavin's talk today?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was hoping somebody was going to. I brought a camera just in
Right.
case.
And when's the talk?
1:15.
And when's the play?
I'll be doing the play. The play is at,
Okay. Lucianne Lavin is the director of the Institute of American Indian Studies in Washington Depot. She's doing a talk at 1:15 at the
1:15.
town hall, and it's all about Cornwall's Native American history.
yeah.
It should be really, really good.
Yeah.
She's really
Well, I'll try and get to that, but I was gonna definitely do the play.
Okay, good. That's great.
Yeah.
I'll film the top.
And the
Just
play-
Well, yeah, Amy has my camera, so, right, you
okay.
know.
Sure, I know Amy will be
Okay.
there.
And that's it for upstairs at the sewer house.
Yes, I bet.